A warm welcome to you all, dear students. Good afternoon, everybody. So today we will discuss regarding the noble gas family. So we have started with the p block elements. We have completed all the 17 groups. We have seen applications of group 17. We have studied regarding the interhalogen compounds also. Today we will start regarding group 18 elements which are generally said to be noble gases. Noble gas family mainly includes the elements are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. I have told you one of the phrases to be remembered, Hina, Nina or Karina ke X-ray Rangeen. That will be a phrase we can remember with the help of that phrase, or else you can make of your own phrases also. That is not an issue at all. But the thing is, ultimately you are supposed to remember the elements present in particularly that group. Now let us see the electronic configuration. How electronic configuration can be written for group 18 elements. As helium is comprises group 18 having the atomic number 2, generally we will be writing it as 1s2 because 2 electrons will be lying in s orbital. Then we will be having next atomic number of the element neon, it is 10. So 10 we will be writing noble gas configuration, that is first element which is considered as helium. We have taken helium here so that 2 electrons have been removed from and 8 electrons are going to be left. As this neon is occurring or it is lying at second period, we will be considering it as 2s2 2p6. I think this is understood to you all. Before all the elements we have discussed, likewise we have written electronic configuration for group 18 elements also. Likewise we have argon. Argon comprises 18, atomic number 18, and we will be considering neon, wherein neon possesses 10 electrons. 10 electrons will be written, that is neon is representing 10 electrons out of 18 of argon. And how many are left? 8 electrons are left. 6 plus 2 8. As this element argon is lying at third period, we will be considering them as 3s2 3p6. Moving to the next, that is krypton. As krypton is lying at the fourth period, we all know at the fourth period generally d block elements will be interfering. Once d block elements interferes, we are supposed to complete the 10 electrons in 3d orbital. Then we will be moving to the s orbital as well as p orbital, because we know this energy is higher than that of these s and p. That is why we will be considering s and p orbital later part. So we will be having out of 36, we have 18 electrons left here plus 10 here. In total 26 electrons plus 2 28, lastly plus 6 we will be getting 36 electrons are going to be filled with the electronic configuration argon 3d10 4s2 4p6 for krypton. Likewise it goes for krypton. We will be making less of 36 electrons and we will be considering d orbitals. D orbitals again 10 electrons. As this element is lying at fifth period, we will be considering as 5s2 5p6 and so on it goes. Like this we will be writing the electronic configuration for all the elements lying in group 18 family. One more thing I have to tell you that regarding the radon, that is last element of group 18, which is radioactive in nature, and generally it is not available in free in a space. It will be not available, that means it is absent in our air, but the thing is it is radioactive in nature. How does it is being synthesized? Just see here. Radon is generally radioactive and is being synthesized by the disintegration of radium. When radium undergoes disintegration, we will be obtaining radon. Plus helium gas is also obtained. That is, radon is absent in atmospheric air. Now we have to go for next part, that abundancy of all the elements present in group 18. To which extent generally they are present. For a surprise, I must tell that all the noble gases in the atmosphere generally they retain in 1%. Out of that, which element is having what composition, what type of what abundancy, it generally follows all those things we have to understand. So just please copy this. We'll move to abundancy of noble gases present in the air. So welcome back dear students. We have started actual part of group 18 elements. We have seen electronic configuration, and we also discussed regarding how exactly electronic configuration is to be written, what are the main radon formation, how does it is going to take place when radon is going to be considered as radioactive and it is not generally present in atmospheric air. So when coming back to the occurrence of noble gases, we have to understand here the abundancy of rare gases. So when you consider noble gases, they are generally present in 1% by volume in the atmospheric gas or atmospheric air. Secondly, if you consider the most abundant noble gas present in the atmosphere is said to be argon, which is of 0.956% by volume. And these noble gases, or they are also called rare gases. Why the chemistry behind these terminologies we have? So when you consider noble gases, they are generally complete with their octet. We know we will be writing general electronic configuration for noble gases. We will be writing as NH2NP6, wherein it is showing us that all the 8 electrons are filled in noble gases. That is the main reason why they are said to be noble gases. They are unreactive, very less reactive towards the other atoms or the elements present in the reaction. So they are called generally noble gases because of their completion of octet. They are complete with their octet. They are complete with complete octet and are very less reactive So as they have complete octet, they neither want electron to be taken by them, they nor want to give the electron to any atom or the molecule. So the reason why these are going to be considered as very less reactive noble gases. And they have given one more name as generally we prefer, that is they are called as rare gases also. Rare gases in the sense they are found only to the 1%, more or less to 1% it is present in a volume. The reason why they are called as rare gases. So this is all about the things, that is occurrence of particularly noble gases in a atmosphere. So once we have done with this one, we supposed to understand atomic properties of noble gases. How exactly atoms of these elements are going to be exhibiting different properties. They generally referred as trends of these groups or the periods generally we study. So let us begin with the atomic properties. We'll understand what are the atomic properties exhibited by group 18 elements. So very first atomic property we have to consider here, atomic size. Let me write the first, then I'll explain you the atomic properties. All of you please write along with me regarding the atomic properties of group 18 elements. So when you consider atomic properties, very first I must go for atomic size. So far we have discussed regarding the atomic size with almost all the groups as well as the periods we have considered. Generally we know when we move down the group, atomic size is going to be increased. Similarly, the same thing is going to holds good for group 18 elements also. Down the group always size increases, and across the period atomic size is going to be decreased. The size increase is mainly because of adding up of electrons to the next shells, penultimate shells or next shells we will be adding the electrons. The reason why number of shells are going to be increased. I must mention here regarding the atomic size, when we move down the group, when we descend the group, atomic size increases. atomic size increases. This can be represented like this also. Okay, first point I could write, as atomic size increases, number of shells also increases. Number of shells increases. Okay, so as number of shells are increasing, that is size is also increasing, that definitely affects effective nuclear charge. As the size is increasing, the distance from the nucleus to the outer electron also increases. As there is a lot of difference is seen with down the group, when we move, effective nuclear charge is going to be decreased. So last point I must mention here, effective nuclear charge decreases when we move down the group. This is all about the atomic size, and it is considered to be a general trend as well. It is holds good for group 18 elements also. Down the group, definitely size is going to be increased. As size increases, distance increases. Higher the distance from the nucleus to the outermost electron, what happens? Effective nuclear charge is going to be decreased. So this is all about the atomic size. So far we have already discussed the things, and same is we have discussing for group 18 elements also. Next point we have to understand regarding the ionization enthalpy. We all know ionization enthalpy and ionization energy are one or the other same thing, wherein we will be providing certain amount of energy to get the outermost valence electron from an atom in a gaseous isolated form. Okay, so we will be understanding regarding ionization energy or ionization enthalpy. So when you consider this one, it is said to be amount of energy required to remove the outermost electron of isolated gaseous neutral atom. Okay, when we consider this one, what happens? Ionization energy across the period always it increases. Down the group, ionization energy decreases. Please do remember these points what I explaining here, and the same general trend is going to be holds good for group 18 elements also. Okay, so when you consider group 18 elements, as I told you, down the group size is going to be increased, and there is a distance from nucleus to electron also decreases. When the distance is very highest, we will provide very little amount of energy to take away the outermost electron. So what happens? Definitely ionization enthalpy value also is going to be decreased down the group, and it increases across the period. So with respect to group 18 elements, okay, or noble gases, I could tell here ionization energy is decreases down the group. It decreases down the group. Okay, so now I must have to mention here that when you consider elements, that is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. So when you consider these elements, I must mention here that with respect to neon, just leave the helium. Helium will be having very smallest size. When we consider particularly neon, what will happen? Ionization energy or ionization enthalpy, what I have written, it is going to be decreased in this value. Okay, when we move to the fourth period, in fourth period what happens? There is a ionization enthalpy value almost equal or very little greater in size. You can see here that when you consider argon and krypton, there is a very slight change, because for the fourth period we all know d subshells are entering. Due to d shells, what happens? Effective nuclear charge which is operating here is going to be varied. Why does it varies? It is mainly because of certain interfering d electrons. We have already seen, that is shielding effect. These fourth period elements couldn't shield all the electrons very strongly than that of the other electrons which do not have any d electrons in them. That is the main reason why effective nuclear charge will be followed one or the other same pattern with these two elements. And again from here to here it increases and it is almost remains the same or very slight increase in ionization energy value will also be seen, mainly because of the subshells which causes shielding effect. That point we have to remember here. That's it. So generally it would have happened increased ionization enthalpy increase in two cases, that is fourth period, fifth period. What happens due to shielding effect? Almost it remains the same or very slight increase in very slight decrease in ionization energy value can be seen with respect to group 18 elements. So this is all about, we have seen ionization enthalpy. Now we have to understand regarding electron gain enthalpy. When you consider electron gain enthalpy, we have to mention its statement. So what do you mean by I mean electron gain enthalpy? As ionization energy or ionization enthalpy is amount of energy required. Here what happens, we will be considering isolated neutral gaseous atom. That for that atom we are going to add up one electron. Adding up of the electron is not an easy task. While adding that electron forcefully, certain amount of energy is going to be released. That amount of energy which is released during adding of the electron to an isolated gaseous atom itself is referred as electron gain enthalpy. So what will happen with respect to electron gain enthalpy for group 18 elements, we have to understand. So when you consider group 18 elements, we all know electron gain enthalpy across the period, it is going to be increased, down the group it decreases. As it decreases down the group, here all the elements will be having highest positive value. When we move down the group, ionization electron gain enthalpy value, what we have considered, will be highly positive value. Okay. When we descend the group, so we will see highly positive or more positive electron gain enthalpy is C. Highly positive electron gain enthalpy value can be seen when we move down the group. It will be positive in nature. Means the energy which is released when we go down the group, energy is going to be released. Across the period also it releases. But the thing is, when we move across the period, what happens? Electron gain enthalpy value will be highest. Okay. Negative we can say here. But down the group, it will be having highest positive value. Because across the period, it is tough task to add up the electron to the isolated neutral gaseous atom, where that can be easily done when we move down the group. So this is all about electron gain enthalpy. Likewise, let us move further for properties of group 18. So particularly let me consider some of the physical properties. Okay. When you consider physical properties of group 18 elements, I must mention very first thing. As these are rare gases or noble gases, they are complete with their octet. They will be having weak van der Waals force of attraction. Okay. So there is a weak force of attraction between them. When we move down the group, what happens? Size is going to be increased and easily the bond between them is going to break. As it is easily going to be break, what happens? We have to check out with respect to boiling point. Weaker the force, lesser the amount of energy is going to be provided. So what happens? Low boiling point is seen when we move down the group of these elements. So let me write the points here. Very first point I could write here that these elements have weak force of attraction. These elements have weak force of attraction between the atoms. So weak force of attraction between the atoms causes less amount of energy to be provided. Less amount of energy should be provided to break the bond. Should be provided to break the bond. As they require very less energy to break the bond, what happens down the group? Definitely boiling point is going to be decreased. So I must write here down the group. Down the group, boiling point also decreases. So this is all about the physical property, that is boiling point, we can understand. Generally, rare gases, noble gases will be present with respect to their weak force of attraction. So this is all about the physical properties. Still more physical properties are there. We will understand them one by one. Please copy this. We'll move to next. So dear students, when you consider next physical properties, I must mention here that all the noble gases generally are said to be monoatomic in nature, and they show colorless, odorless and tastelessness. That is, they do not possess any color, no odor, they are tasteless gases, we can consider. Next point, they are sparingly soluble in water. They do not easily going to be soluble in water. They generally soluble in organic solvents. And as I already explained that they will be showing low boiling point and very low melting point values is mainly because of very weak force of attraction between the noble gas atoms. Now helium will be showing a very smallest value, that is 4.2 Kelvin boiling point. With respect to chemical properties, if you move, we will be having chemical inerness is shown by all these group 18 elements. That is, the main reason we understand is mainly because of their valence shell is complete. They are complete with the octet. Due to that complete octet, they will be showing us more electron gain enthalpy as well as ionization energy will be highest value. So considering all these points of physical properties as well as chemical properties, we have to understand regarding how these undergoing reaction with different reagents or different compounds when we make use for further like products. So that is, in detail we will understand regarding the chemical properties by considering individual rare gases. Please copy this. We'll move to chemical properties of xenon. So when you consider chemical properties of group 18 elements, we have to understand one important note here. I have written the compounds of helium, neon and argon still now not known. They generally do not form, and still now we don't have any such compounds of helium, neon and argon. And when you consider further, xenon is going to form a respective different types of compounds when they are going to be bind with highly electronegative halogen atom. So very first one I would like to tell you here that xenon fluorine compounds. Fluorine being the smallest in size as well as electronegative in nature get combined with xenon, and it is going to form respective compounds. So xenon fluorine compounds, if you consider, we generally going to prefer the formation of XeF2, XeF4 and XeF6. These are the three important compounds are formed from xenon and fluorine combination. So very first one I'd like to write here that xenon gas is passed over the fluorine gas at 673 Kelvin temperature by maintaining the pressure 1 bar. Here xenon gas is going to be taken in excess to form respective xenon fluoride, that is XeF2. Both the gases which are the state, that is physical state, is going to be changed when product formation takes place. Here it is in a gaseous form, fluorine also is gaseous form. The thing is, we will be considering xenon in excess and XeF2 is formed in a solid form. And then we will be having xenon as well as fluorine itself. The thing is, xenon is gaseous and fluorine is taken in 2 moles, but the thing is, in second reaction we will be considering fluorine in excess. then that is around 1:5 ratio we will be considering. And the temperature we are maintaining here, it is 873 Kelvin and 7 bar pressure. And we are going to obtain respective XeF4 in the solid form. Likewise, I have the third reaction in which I will be considering xenon gas and 3 fluorine gas. The thing is, we will be considering 573 Kelvin. I am increasing here pressure because whenever we increase the pressure, gases will be have high tendency to change their state to the liquids to solids. So the reason why we will be increasing the pressure. Here we will be considering 60 to 70 bar pressure. We are going to obtain XeF6 in a solid form. So this is all about the preparation of xenon compounds. At last I have written here one more reaction, that is preparation of XeF6. So one more method for the preparation of XeF6, if you consider, it is by XeF4, which is formed in the second step, is going to be further treated with O2F2. So when you maintain the temperature 143 Kelvin, oxygen gas is going to be liberated or followed by formation of solid XeF6. So these are all considered to be xenon fluorine compounds, which will be studied under chemical properties of group 18 elements. Please copy this. We'll go to next. So dear students, now let us understand how exactly xenon and oxygen compounds are going to be formed. So very first reaction I have written here, that is hydrolysis of XeF4 and XeF6 with water. Hydrolysis, definitely we will be doing water usage here. We will be having xenon tetrafluoride, that is XeF6 is going to be hydrolyzed. We are going to obtain a respective XeO3. Xenon and oxygen compounds is formed. We will be getting the side products. We need to balance the equation also. Here I would like to write here that XeO3 which is obtained is considered to be a colorless and explosive solid. It is explosive in nature. And here XeOF4 is considered to be one of the xenon and oxygen compound along with presence of fluorine, is a volatile liquid at room temperature. It is also colorless in nature. So these all are the chemical properties we are understanding or we are studying, in which exclusively xenon compounds are formed. Xenon compounds are generally formed with a combination of xenon and fluorine as well as xenon and oxygen. With this brief explanation regarding the chemical properties, we have to understand how does the structure of these xenon compounds are seen. How does they exist in a structural formula, we have to understand. Please copy this reaction. We will go to the structure part. So dear students, when you consider regarding the structure, how exactly structurally they are existed, xenon compounds. So very first one I would like to tell you regarding XeF2, xenon difluoride. So XeF2 will be written above and below here. This structure is mainly existed because of fluorine is considered to be electronegative, and these electrons which are considered to be lone pair electrons present here with the 3 orbitals are going to repel these electrons of the electrons of fluorine. So what happens, these two pair of orbitals retain this side and one orbital will be retained this side with a lone pair of electrons, and fluorine will be written above and below the structure. Now see here, so this is said to be linear in nature. Linear molecule, above and below we will be having each fluorine atom. It shows us linear shape of molecule. So linearity is with respect to XeF2 molecule. So once we complete this XeF2, let me rub this one, we'll see the structure, that is further compound which is referred as XeF4. Just do concentrate here. We will understand XeF4 later part, will move to the next. When you consider XeF4, it will be written in this fashion. At the middle, we will be having xenon atom or xenon element, which is directly bonded by fluorine, 4 fluorine atoms at the exactly 4 corners. And in the middle, we know that there is an empty orbital with a 1 pair electron each. Okay, so as they are at the 4 corners, fluorine atoms are at the 4 corners, we can easily draw the square here. So the structure is said to be having square planar shape. So XeF4 exists in square planar. So let me rub this one later part. I'll explain you next thing. That is the structure. When you consider structure for XeF6, it is said to be distorted octahedral. We all know whenever central atom, that is here central atom we have xenon. When any central atom bonded by 6 different atoms or 6 ligands, that time they are said to be octahedral in nature. All these central metal atoms in the ligands part we will understand. We will learn in detail in chapter coordination compounds. So don't worry about that one. But the thing is, you understand here, we have xenon at the center surrounded by 6 fluorine atoms. Here 3 fluorine atoms, here 3 fluorine atoms, and I will be having one orbital with a lone pair of electrons. Because we have to check out the valency. For the xenon, as we know, it is completely filled. 6 electrons will be given to each. 6 electrons will be given to all the 6 fluorine atoms, and 2 electrons are left. They will be mentioned in a orbital as a lone pair. And when you consider XeF6, it possesses, that is, distorted octahedral structure. Not exactly the octahedral, somehow it is being distorted due to presence of this empty, lone pair orbital in its structure. So do remember, XeF6 always possesses distorted octahedral shape or the geometry we can say. So now let us understand further part. When we complete XeF6, we have to understand next, that is this compound which is said to be XeOF4. XeOF4. So XeF4, if you consider, see here at the center we will be having a xenon. Xenon is directly bonded with the oxygen atom, divalent. Oxygen is always divalent. It is fulfilled with the 2 bonds, and rest of we have 4 fluorine atoms present in this structure along with 1 lone pair of electron. As it is seen square in nature, and this lone pair is present in the structure, but the thing is electronegative oxygen will be above the plane. Above the plane, lone pair will be below the plane. As that is a 3-dimensional view we can make here, we can say that this is said to be square pyramidal in nature. It is somehow like this. This is a square structure we can write. So above and below we will be having lone pair electron as well as oxygen atom present in it. So the structure will be having a square pyramidal geometry with respect to XeF4. Okay. So this is the 4th compound of xenon we have studied, and here we will understand regarding the last part, that is we have seen XeO3 was formed. So when you consider XeO3, each oxygen is divalently bonded and